How to get over someone according to psychologists and relationship experts. Wondering how to get over someone is a universal experience, so then why does it feel so isolating? On a scale of 1 to torturous, getting your heart broken is a solid absolutely awful. Most of us have been there at some point, left questioning how to move on or how to best end a relationship. While there's no surefire way to avoid a broken heart unless you're an unfeeling robot, of course, there is a way through it, even if at the moment you truly believe you'll never be happy again. Understanding how your mind works and how to work it better can be helpful after breaking up. It's important to understand how we humans come hardwired with the ability to experience pleasure from our intimate connections and pain from heartbreak, says Nan Wise, PhD, a sex therapist, neuroscientist, relationship expert, and author of Why Good Sex Matters, Understanding the Neuroscience of Pleasure for a Smarter, Happier, and More Purpose-Filled Life. The oldest part of our brain, which we share with all mammals and many other animals, has a circuit of brain regions, the panic, grief, sadness system, that gets activated when we experience the loss of an important relationship. And according to Dr. Wise, this means your body can very much feel the physical and emotional after effects of a breakup because our brains instinctually view relationships and the resource they provide as essential for survival. When activated, this panic, grief, sadness system creates painful withdrawal-like symptoms, an ache in the heart, overwhelming sadness and despair, ruminations, regrets, and diminished enthusiasm for life, explains Dr. Wise. It's important to remember that heartbreak and subsequent grief are not pathological, but a normal part of being an emotional creature. It's just the dark side of your life-affirming ability to form loving, intimate connections. And here, Dr. Wise and other experts share advice for how to get over someone. Why am I struggling to get over someone? Ending a relationship can be hard on all parties involved, but sometimes it can feel like you're the only one in pain, while your ex has seemingly moved on with no issue. See Taylor Swift, Mr. Perfectly Fine. So who hurts more after a breakup, really? It depends on the individual, but the one that hurts the most is the one that was most invested, says Rachel D'Alto, chief dating expert for Match. If you were the more invested party, just know that it's normal to have feelings of sadness or loss around the breakup. We struggle to get over someone because we focus on the good times, how they made us feel, and how much we cared for them, says D'Alto. Even when it was not always good, our hindsight is often rose-colored, and we hold on to what could have been. How can I stop thinking about my ex? Can you turn emotions off? Unfortunately, D'Alto says turning off your emotions is not possible. It's what makes us human, she says. Our emotions need to be felt and processed to move through them, and here's what you can do instead. 1, allow yourself to feel your feelings. When somebody breaks up with you, you're going to feel a flood of emotions, says Rebecca Hendricks, LMFT, psychotherapist, New York City. It's a trauma, it's a shock to your system. And as with any type of emotional shock, you want to be really gentle with yourself, and you want to allow yourself to feel your feelings, she says. And after all, your feelings are there for a reason. They can help you move through difficult experiences, but only if you release them. In the days following the breakup, allow yourself to cry and acknowledge that a breakup is like any other type of loss. With loss come 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. You're going to go through those in your own way, in your own time, says Hendricks. And during the process, validate your feelings by saying things like, why wouldn't I feel like that? I feel like that way. And of course, I'm experiencing this emotion. 2, but don't become your feelings. Though it's important to express your feelings, it's also important to stop short of becoming them, says Hendricks. So if you feel sad, let yourself wallow for a certain amount of time, say an hour, cry, scream, yell, journal, listen to your sad love songs, spend time with loved ones, do whatever you need to do to let your emotions flow freely, she said, but when those 60 minutes are up, stop and move on to something else. Yes, you need to give yourself some time to grieve, but we don't want that to become self-harming, says Dr. Alexandra Streitner, licensed psychologist at Streitner and Associates, New York City. It's important to keep up with self-care. If your functioning is diminished, like you're having trouble eating or sleeping on an ongoing basis, it may be time to seek some support from mental health professionals. Her advice: keep things that historically bring you joy, like exercise or hobbies, in your daily routine. What are your stages of letting go? Once you go through those 5 stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, you can begin the process of letting go. Stages of letting go include grieving, acceptance, and healing, says D'Alto. Give yourself the time you need to grieve the loss, accept the reality of the situation, and then take the time and energy you need to heal. 1. Give yourself time and space to grieve. For Brendel Durrell, an intimacy expert who also serves as relationship mentor and coach to the Too Hot to Handle, the grieving stage is not one you can just skip over. He said, I was once engaged and had to go through a whole grieving process. He says, there has to be a grieving period. You can fill the voids all you want with drinks and partying, and even with something healthy like working out, but you're still avoiding the actual emotions that are in there. When my former fiance and I did not work out, I got into the best shape of my life, but it was still all through motivation of abandonment. I was not willing to feel the abandonment wound, so I put into working out, but those emotions were still there underneath. I didn't give myself permission to grieve. Dr. Streitner says her first recommendations to clients experiencing a breakup is to give themselves time. I think people want to feel much better much sooner than they should typically expect, she says. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's normal, she says, to mourn what could have been when a relationship ends. A breakup is something that can elicit feelings of grief. Maybe this was a relationship where you had ideas about what your future was going to look like with this person. Maybe you envisioned going through different life stages and reaching certain goals with each other. That can be really painful, and it's also a form of rejection potentially. So it's important to give yourself some time and allow yourself to feel your feelings. 2, go through these stages for all relationships, no matter how long they lasted. If you've been ghosted, a dating phenomenon many of us know all too well, before new relationships have taken off, it's okay to still need time to process your feelings about it, just as much as you would for a long-term relationship. Grieve it, feel sad, says Durrell. If you're able to cry, cry about it. I'm a big fan of advocating for emotional expression. You don't want anything to build up inside, so if you're in that space of melancholy, let it all out, it's healthy. We want you to release that, but you know that your self-worth is not tied up in the person who ghosted you. It's in how you picked up yourself and moved forward in love. When someone is rejected by a crush, she says, sometimes it can hurt your self-esteem and bring about feelings of inadequacy or insecurity. You may also question yourself. We can be invalidating of ourselves, she explains. Nothing even happened here, so why am I feeling this way? It's not useful to judge yourself for having feelings. Strayer compares it to quicksand. The more you judge yourself, the deeper in you go, so be patient with yourself. How can I accept that someone does not want to be with me? Acceptance happens when you recognize that we can never control the desires or actions of another, says D'Alto, even when it does not make sense and even when it hurts. Below are some expert tips on how to deal with unrequited love and reach those acceptance and healing stages. 1. Cut off communication with your ex. First thing you want to learn how to get over someone you love. Stop sending those late night texts to your ex and mute or unfollow their social media profiles. There's a scientific reason heartbreak hurts so much. You actually go through withdrawal-like symptoms after a breakup because the feel-good hormones you got from your partner are suddenly gone, says Ella Huerta, founder of Mend, an app online community designed to help people post-breakup. When your partner is no longer there, you start to crave those feel-good hormones, she said. If you give in to this feeling and see your ex again, you'll struggle to move forward and find yourself stuck months and maybe even years later. Cutting off all contact in the beginning is healthy, agrees Hendricks. It allows you to break your attachment to your former partner. That said, there's no hard and fast rule about contacting your ex, she says. Brief, occasional communication like, hey, can we talk for a few minutes? I'm having a hard time with this. Could be okay. Just be cautious that those innocent check-ins don't become a habit. Every time you talk to them, you open up another energy tie between you, and your goal is to break those energy ties, not to keep creating them. We actually have a 30-day no-contact rule, says Yui Chu, relationship expert, co-host of Dateable podcast, co-author of the upcoming How to Be Dateable. 2, find a support system. Call 2 or 3 people you really care about and let them know what you're going through, says Hendricks. A lot of people love you and they want to support you, but often they don't know how because you're not telling them. Opening up to others may bring catharsis in return. Most everyone has been on the receiving end of a breakup at one time or another, and commiserating with them, sharing experiences, getting counsel, being reminded you're not alone can be highly beneficial. Dural also recommends being witnessed in your grief over a breakup by a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional, or even better, all of the above. Say, I'm carrying shame or embarrassment or whatever it is. To actually cry in front of people who are there to support me can change your life. He says it changed my life to be vulnerable and be witnessed in my grief. Number 3, exercise. Breaking a sweat may be the last thing you want to do when you're wallowing over the past relationship, but trust, it can help just as much as watching those breakup movies, if not more. The endorphins produced during exercise will help with the withdrawal symptoms post-breakup, and it also helps you build confidence in yourself, says Huerta. 4, try yoga or meditation. If running on the treadmill isn't your idea of how to get over someone, at least consider gentle movement activities like yoga or meditation apps. Grief is experienced in the body, says Dr. Wise. She suggests yoga to help your body release those emotions. Grief is stressful and can temporarily dysregulate the autonomic nervous system, hence changes in your sleep, appetite, and concentration. So work, big part of yoga and meditation practices can help calm the activation of that system. 5, remember what sucked. A common response if you regret breaking up a romantic relationship is to idealize the other person, says Hendricks. And while you don't want to deny that there were good parts of your relationship, you also don't want to fixate on them. To find the middle ground, write a list of all the negative aspects of your former partner or relationship, like signs of cheating or fighting in a relationship, and look at it on the reg. This mental exercise helps counterbalance all the obsessive thinking you will probably be experiencing around what you miss about your ex and why they were so great even if they weren't, says Huerta. 6, write it all down. If we try to pretend that we aren't thinking about our ex, it just festers more. The key here, do not send the letter, just write down all your emotions, what you learned from the other person, and what did not work for you. I like ending the letter with what you're grateful for from this relationship, even if it was a toxic relationship or not a good relationship. And once you finish the letter, she says, ask yourself, what's next? How do I regain the things that I used to love? What are the activities I used to do all the time that I've kind of slipped away because I've been spending time with this person? How do I regain my sense of self? 7, take care of yourself. All experts agree that taking care of yourself in the midst of heartbreak is key. Check in with yourself throughout the day, says Hendricks, and ask, what do I need? Maybe it's a healthy salad, maybe it's a hot bath, maybe it's a phone call with a friend, maybe it's seeking professional help. 8, Don't internalize the breakup. In the aftermath of a difficult split, Dr. Porter says, avoid thinking, I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. Instead, situate the problem in the relationship, if not in your partner, he says. Sometimes when people are going through a breakup or feel brokenhearted, they go through a period of time where they attribute it to faults within themselves. There can be a tendency to generalize or catastrophize from that and say, I'm not going to be good enough for anyone. Will I ever find love again? These kinds of myths take it really hard to recover. They make it hard to recover. 9. Identify and eliminate unhealthy behaviors. Try to understand any impulses you may be having, like texting your ex, checking their Instagram every hour, or replaying every damn detail of your last weekend together. These urges are part of a natural withdrawal process that happens after heartbreak, but don't let yourself overindulge in obsessive behaviors like analyzing every aspect of your relationship until 4 a.m. 10. Create new routines. Realize that the breakup is likely going to cause voids in your life. Say you and your ex always went to the movies every Friday, says Hendricks. Now your Friday nights are wide open, but instead of wallowing alone, proactively call your friends and make plans. 11. Explore old and new interests. Say you really enjoy the outdoors, but your ex didn't. So while you were together, you cut back on your weekend hiking habit. Now that you're single, give yourself permission to reconnect with that interest and also explore new hobbies. The universe meets us at the point of action, and if we're trying to heal, we have to take steps to heal. 12. If you decide to date, do so cautiously. After getting your heart trampled, it can be tempting to instantly download a dating app and search for a rebound or even your next relationship, but Hendricks warns against dating too soon after heartbreak. 13. Do things that boost your confidence. You don't have to jump back into dating, but seek out experiences in your free time that remind you of all your positive qualities. Spend time with friends and loved ones or people who make you feel good about yourself. Do things that you feel proud of or that remind you of the qualities you value within yourself. 14. Down the road, reflect on the positive things. In the long run, the breakup should not taint the whole relationship. Dr. Porter says, as the pain subsides, consider the good you got out of it, embrace the excitement of new possibilities, and remind yourself how awesome you are. Can you be friends with someone you still love? If you're still wondering how to move on from a relationship, you may need to accept that you're losing your best friend as well. It's extremely difficult to be friends with someone you are in love with, but if you have love for them, you can still be friendly. What if you can never move on, and how long is too long to get over someone? It's okay to be scared and hurt, says De Alto, adding that the time frame for healing is different for everyone. But know that with time the pain numbs, and when you experience this, there is new hope. Okay, but how long does it take to get over someone really? Durrell says you inherently know when you're ready to let go. There comes a point when you'll feel it, he says. Don't judge the length of your healing process. Accept that closure is something you may need to find on your own. Trust that the pain won't last forever. How do you know it's truly over? I never say never, but if you've had honest and open communications about the end of your relationship, tried to reconcile and it didn't work, and someone has moved on, it's likely truly over, says De Alto. This is from Glamour on DNYUZ. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.